Good morning, traders and investors. Welcome to Wednesday's edition of Benzinga's pre-market info, brought to you by OptionsHouse. And we are here in Michigan. I got a 0 degree reading in my car this morning. Joe, how about you?
Mine was -4 actually on my way in today, and my phone is still saying -1.
Jeez, oh boy, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna get back over zero today? Is there resistance at zero or what?
Well, I was actually thinking more of the Mexican weather report. Chilly today, hot tamale.
Okay. And I got a new TV show for you guys to watch.
What's that?
Horse Players.
Oh.
Oh no, are you getting into your horse talk?
Yeah.
What's horse players? All the horse racing, let it ride type of deal?
It's
Well,
a
everyone kick your feet up, grab something warm to drink. Joel's about to go on a rant.
no,
Uh,
it's it's a reality show, and it's about big handicappers around the country, and it shows them at the different tracks, Aqueduct, Santa Anita, and placing their wagers and discussing their strategies. Lisa watched it for about 5 minutes, uh, but
so it must be okay if she watched for 5 minutes.
But you know what's really aggravating is that our dog, whenever there's an animal on TV, she barks at the TV. So as you can imagine, during a horse racing show, that didn't go over real well. So she had to take Perry upstairs, but it was fun. I was good. I would recommend it for people. I don't know if it's gonna last, but
She's barking at the TV because she wants you to change the station, Joel.
no, I'm telling you, you come over to my house and you sit there. Anytime an animal comes on TV, no matter what it is, cat, dog, elephant, we can't have her
Zebra.
in the room for the Kentucky Derby either. She just goes absolutely crazy.
She's cheering on her horse.
Yeah, exactly. And you're cheering on the S&Ps today because you think they're finally going to break out of this
I
this.
don't know what is happening here. Really, the fundamentals say we should go straight down, but it doesn't matter. We have so many earnings reports here today. We have downgrades today. There's just a plethora of bad news again. It seems like this earnings season has not been good whatsoever, but it doesn't matter. The market shrugs it off. They'll find something else to buy. Even yesterday morning, like look at the sell off we had during the day. We sell off hard all morning. And then all afternoon, we rally it all back, and we end up coming right back up to this whole 1840 area again. Overnight high 1843. I guess resistance is still well defined there, Joel, but we're trading down a couple of points here. Are they just going to come in and buy this pullback here again?
You still have not figured out an option strategy for me. I'm telling you, we're gonna be 100 points away from here.
I
With
was
it,
pricing it yesterday. I was pricing it out for there for you a little bit. You want to go to the SPY? Do you want to look at them right now here again? We can
no,
price
because
them.
you're just gonna say they're too expensive. They're too
It's
expensive.
expensive, man. You've got to like do some type of just to put on some strangle. You're in trouble because it's just the premiums are just too
But
high.
isn't
So
volatility low?
I know the volatility is low overall. On some individual stocks, it's not bad. But here, like we were looking out to June for you, and the SPY, we're at 184 right now. And I was pricing it out when it was at 184. So it would be about the same price on the options yesterday. The 187 calls for June are $4.43. The 181 puts are $5.90. So if you're just banking on a move, you're paying 10 points in premium. So that's equivalent to almost 100 S&P points to break even. That's hard to do. And by June, like I mean, we might move on. We probably will, but you got to pick the direction right too. Well, I guess you don't. You don't have to pick the direction right if you're putting on the strangle. But either way, 100 points just starts to break you even on that trade. That's a
And
lot.
and then we also just talked about doing a pure straddle too, and that didn't yield anything better.
Yeah.
Exactly. So these option guys got us by the you know what here, but
Option writer. I guess in the long run, you're writing insurance to the market, and those insurance, that where you make money is if you get an anomaly, if you get, the whole fat tail from statistics, you get the black swan event, market crashes, you'll kill it. You'll kill it in that scenario if the market crashes. And if you really think we're going to have a crash in the next 5 months here, that strategy will pay you off. But if you think we're just going to kind of hang out and drift one way or another, it's really not. You need massive volatility. You need that VIX to pop, and you obviously need the S&P futures to move more than 100 points. That's asking
that
quite a
that
bit.
yeah, not like the good old days, but just to alert our traders to the area that we're talking about. It's more well defined on the upside, including today's session. We're 6 points away from the high, so I assume that 43 and a quarter is going to hold up as the high of the day. We have one, two, three, four, five highs in a row between 1842 and 75, and then 1845.75. So that's basically a 3 point range. And then that's buffeted by the all-time high, which we hit on the December 31st at 1846.50. So you can't have resistance any better defined than what you have. I don't think I've ever seen this before in the S&Ps to have this many highs. I don't know. Maybe I'll forget the calls and just do the puts.
Or maybe just wait to see which way it breaks. What's the year low? What's the low of the year? What are we
Oh,
down to? 1809 or something?
yeah, we dipped down on the 13th. We dipped down to 0950, and then
Yeah,
the next day you made a low at 1275. But if you exclude those two lows, okay, as
yeah.
anomalies, like how do we ever get that low? For the rest of the trading year, for the rest of this year, we have traded between 17 and a quarter and 45.75. For the rest of the year, we've stayed. What is that? Not even a 30-point range for the
Tight,
entire. Yeah,
tight
whatever.
like Tiger.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, if you have to look at the long-term trend. The long-term trend is up. This is a consolidation. This is one long
Yeah.
consolidation period. But it just seems like people are just saying enough is enough already.
Well, they're definitely taking profits. Every time we go up here into this 1840 area, we're taking profits. And if they're looking at the fundamentals, they're probably concerned. I mean, every day we come in this earnings season, some stock is getting shellacked. Today's stock of choice, IBM. Last night they reported earnings. They looked pretty good, actually. $6.13 versus $5.99. But then 27.7 billion versus 28.25 billion. So a little bit light on the revenue. It actually popped on the initial report. We popped up to 193.77 if you go to
No.
that after hours chart. Yeah, we
Oh,
did. We got up, we were over $5, we were higher, and then we sold off. So we actually, I think it was more like a yo-yo trade after hours. I believe actually right on the report we sold off to 183. I was tracking it. Then we rallied all the way up to 193.77. Then we sold all the way off to like 181.46, and then down to the 180 area. And then now we're trading at 181.75. So we're down 6 points. We kind of settled here now. But look at the yo-yo action right after the report. There was some massive chop after that IBM report last night.
180.50. We just hit that low in pre-market trading in the last 15-minute bracket, so we'll keep an eye on that level. On the daily charts here, just been just climbing, getting up to that $190 level, and vavoom, we're right back here. I guess you got to look at this low that you had going back. You had a low at 180.02 on December 20th. The previous day's low was 177.88. 180.50, the pre-market low. 180.02. You got a nice round number here. Pretty big windfall. I call support between 180 and 181. I would not be shorting this thing under 180. And I don't know. You got a nice windfall if you stuck short in this little 5 day run from 184. Isn't this kind of an opportunity to cover that short?
Yeah, well, these earnings aren't that bad too when you look at it. So if you're analyzing it from the fundamentals and looking at the technicals here a little bit, I think 180 is a big psychological level. And obviously, the stock is pulling back here 6 points, so you get some bottom pickers coming in here. I don't think we're going to cascade and just keep flying here. I wouldn't be surprised they actually did come in here and start to pick bottoms here in the low 180s. So it could bounce. It could bounce here today.
And what
I
about
mean,
this?
some money's got to go into something here. And we got lots of other ones that are getting beat up too. You want to go? Let's check out Golden Crude just before we go into all these earnings here, though, because there is just a ton. We got them from all kinds of different sectors today. We got Coach reporting, UTX reporting, Abbott Labs, USB. We got a Mastercard 10-for-1 split. We have all kinds of fun stuff coming up, but we haven't talked about Golden Crude off the bat in a while. So take a look at gold first of all, because we had a little bit of a sell-off yesterday morning in gold. The whole 1250 area continues to remain pretty decent resistance in gold. It gets up there and it fights and it fights and then it sells off. And it gets up there 2 days ago again, fights a bit and sells off again. This 1250 area is definitely pretty well defined for resistance there.
You did on Tuesday's trading. I don't know if it was in the pre-market trading, but you got this pop. You had all this resistance at 1255, and you got this crazy pop up to 1262. You know, the old hit run to buy stops and get them filled. And then they took it right back down here. But gold is building major support here, at the 1235 level. You've had one, two, three, four, five lows between 1233.50 and 1237.40 if you include today's session. So very, very well defined support. If I was looking to, for a swing trade here, and I wanted to risk $5 and take it up back up to the 1260 level because it's really forming, fantastic, fantastic support here. And I've looked. Some of these gold stocks seem to be
They're
showing.
coming to life.
Yeah, they are. They are.
This is the year where a lot of stocks that were last year's laggards. I know you wrote that article. You picked J.C. Penney in there, which wasn't the right one. But like if you look at the Alcoa and you look at others laggards from last year, people are looking for a place to put money, and they're putting it in the laggards from last year. And the gold stocks themselves were some of the biggest laggards last year. But look at the chart like Newmont. We'll start with your favorite, Newmont, NEM. That stock continues to look pretty decent here. It's back above 24. It just made a 1 month high up at 24.82 there, and it got up to 25 yesterday, 25.12. So it's starting to look like some of these individual miners have some life.
And you got a really juicy level here in Newmont mining. You had three highs at the end of November between 25.20 and 25.27. Got up to 25.12 yesterday. I'd take that area out. Doesn't look like we're going to do it today with gold trading lower. But major resistance, I call that up, all the way up from 25.12, which was yesterday's high. So this is a nice kind of like a rounding bottom here. So could get a breakout gold. Unfortunately, with something like Newmont and something like gold, you got to be keeping a close eye on this thing overnight because it could come in and you got that 40, $50 move, and then it's hard to, even though it'll probably go up 70 on days or down 70 like that. You got to have the position on, and I think you're okay here with this Newmont long.
And the Barrick Gold was popping up yesterday as well. It is getting downgraded today, though. HSBC is coming in and downgrading Barrick. I don't know what the reasoning's for that. Maybe if Brent's there, he could dive into that report. But the stock is down 15 cents here on the Barrick on the HSBC downgrade.
This was one. Remember when gold was making the new lows for the move, and Abbott Labs just refused to do it? We were discussing the relative strength in the issue, and here you go. Have had a nice move up here. Actually, it was had a low of 17.58 just less than a week ago, and now you're back over the $19 level. Looking at the pre-market trading, not a lot going on here. You had,
64,000 shares.
yeah, 1902 low. I mean, we'll see. I mean, the street just may very well shrug off this downgrade here. If you
I
look,
think,
don't
I,
you think?
yeah, I think this is one of the cases where the downgrade might actually get you in at a better price here. The stock's been breaking out. I like these miners right now. As trades, short-term trades here, they have been popping. The only thing you're chasing it a little bit here. Like the Newmont, I was actually buying a pullback on. I bought it for my invest portfolio about last week. I think I paid 23.30, and now it's up at 24.82. So it's up a buck and a half. It's up like 5-6% from where I bought it 5 trading sessions ago. So you are chasing them a little bit here. I'd love to get a little more of a pullback and then pick them up. Like even look at the Gold Corp chart, which is GG. That stock just got up to major resistance yesterday. 24 has been huge. So now if you jump in, you're kind of a little bit late to the party. I'd love to get these things to pull back a buck or two, each, and then, pick up some of them on the cheap. But they've been running. They're hot right now.
Yeah, just for you Gold Corp traders, you hit a high of let's see, what was the high yesterday in gold?
23.91, I think.
23.91.
That's what I got.
Yeah, 23.91, and just to alert our traders, you had a high at 24.06 on November 20th. So that $24 area, major resistance. Newmont coming into resistance here. So we'll see if if the trend's going to hold or if these things are going to break out. I mean, but if you look at some of this stuff on the weekly, you could start licking your chops here. I mean, it can.
It's still cheap from where they've come. Like for long-term investments, you wonder if there's some value here. Obviously, if the market ever goes into sell-off mode, then a lot of these stocks might actually come into favor as the defense play. I mean, that's what's going to propel gold over that whole 1250, 1260 area, is if the market ever does to show real weakness. But if this bull market continues to run here, then you get concerned again because gold's defensive. And obviously, if the markets and people aren't, there's no fear out there, they may be moving out of this assets again. So right now, people are jockeying. The S&P futures are basically flat for the year. We just kind of been hanging out, and there's people taking off money and maybe picking up some in the gold, and that's why I've seen gold come to life a little bit. My concern though is if we start breaking out over that 1846 area, start making new highs, maybe that trade starts to reverse.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's certainly the trend here. And just shifting gears over here to the crude, crude is quietly stepped up here from
Yeah.
yeah, that low that it had at 91.38 here on the ninth. That big dive that we took at the beginning of the year, slowly starting to recover here. A lot of green bars in there. We are trading right at yesterday's high. We hit 95.46 yesterday, 95.71 in today's session. You got an important level just under the $96 level, 95.88. So crude, maybe that's giving the gold bugs a little reason to get long here. I mean, I don't think we're going to see any inflation, but they nice crude rally going.
We have a lot of earnings stocks. Let's dive into a few of them here. We
Okay.
already talked about the IBM, but let's first start AMD. If you want to dive from trading a $180 stock in IBM to a $4 stock, AMD is going to have some volatility here today. It went out at 417. It is trading $3.85 right now. They came in line 6 cents versus 6 cents on 1.59 billion versus 1.54 billion. So, but still, they're finding reasons to sell this stock here in the pre-market. The beat, well, obviously wasn't good enough here, and we are trading down 30 cents here on that $4 stock.
Made a low earlier this morning at 367. You've climbed 20 cents since then, back up to the 385 level. Let's go back a few days to the Intel earnings, correct? And they whooped that Intel in the pre-market. They whooped it earlier in the session, and then it just kind of crawled back here. Kind of looking for the same scenario here in AMD. Had some major support at the 410 level. That's taken out. So if we do go into rally mode, that will be your resistance. I see a couple lows here in the
375 I like.
yeah. I think I'd be tempted on a day trade here if they put this back down anywhere in the 370s here and use the pre-market low as as a stop out point. That's if it's going to follow the pattern that Intel did on its earnings. And then if you want to look at Intel, since then it had the bad day and had the recovery day, and then now you're getting major resistance at the 2586 level. Two highs, 2580 and 2586. Down in sympathy a little bit here, but major support in that Intel 25 and a quarter, 2527. Those were the lows in the last two trading sessions, and also when they hit it in the pre-market on earnings day, that was a low also. So you got some good support levels to look at in these chip stocks.
Coach is getting murdered. COH down. Well, it's only down $3.50 now. It was worse here just a few minutes ago. The stock reported and missed $1.06 versus $1.11, so missed by a nickel on the bottom line. The revenue was light too, 1.42 billion versus 1.48 billion. They were punishing this stock. It was trading down. Where did it get down to, Joel? I saw it in the 48s anyways, and we had a low back in October of 47.88. Did we get down to that area there in the pre-market?
4777.
Holy cow! These levels work here in the pre-market trading. If you're trading stocks pre-market after hours and you're looking at them, it's funny. I didn't even look. I didn't hadn't even looked at the pre-market chart on this thing, and I just looked at that level. It jumped out at me. I was like, I wonder if they took it to that area, and that's the area it bounces from. So you're picking bottoms there at that October low. Good job. You're already up a buck and a half.
Well, you have to have that level in mind, and I mean, before the number comes out because it so quickly. Like if you like that 47.77, even if you pick 47.90 and you didn't hit it, you didn't get it on the way down, you're not going to get it on the way back up.
Oh no, you got to
Yeah,
be out there
yeah,
almost. And then sometimes they go out there and you won't get it anyways. You'll have your order out there and they'll go to your order and you won't get it. So that can happen sometimes too because liquidity is lower.
And a lot of times when you see a considerable pop off a number like that, buyers start to come in ahead of that number. So I'm looking for that 47.77 level to hold. You mentioned on the going back, you had that low right around the $48 back in October. So I think that's going to have the battleground if you get back down to 48.
Let's look at the sympathy play Tiffany, which often does move with coach. It hasn't traded here this morning at TIF. It is offered down 10 cents at 86.26 and went out at 86.36. Best bid's down at 84.01, but you're going to lick your chops on this because this is entering a gap area here. We gapped up back in mid-November from 80.29 all the way up to 86 bucks. So we start getting under
Oh,
86 bucks. There's a lot of air below.
boy, look at that. Where's it offered at?
86.26. So somebody's trying to sneak out there. I don't think he's going to get done at 86.26. I think this thing's probably going to have a start cascading through the 86 handle. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see this thing see 85 or below today.
Why don't you offer 5,000 at 86?
You want me to offer some stock at 86? I'll
Yeah,
offer some stock at 86.
yeah. I mean, come on.
Here,
Eh,
I offered here. I'm not going to offer 5,000, but I'll offer 500 at 86.15. How's that? I'll jump ahead of this guy and see what he does. So
Okay.
there I am. I'm 86.15. I'm the new offer, boys.
Okay. All right. Goldman Sachs upgrades Tiffany to the conviction.
Ah, picked off. That's the one bad part about putting orders up free market is you're like, oh, I just got filled on that. Oh, it just got upgraded. Oh, I just got picked off and I'm getting my butt kicked now.
Goldman
So
Sachs
I
is.
don't love sitting limit orders out there just for that reason because of news breaks. You're a sitting duck and you get picked off. So it's kind of against my whole rules of trading is sitting limit orders out there because you do get picked off. I like to take liquidity.
Look at that gap, though. You have to respect that, though. $86. I don't know if anybody's gonna touch you with the coach down $3, but yeah, that's a huge gap to fill, and looks like Tiffany is going to gonna perhaps follow the coach lower.
Brentster was just making sure everybody realized that was a joke because Joel's starting ugly rumors he's saying in the chat.
It's a pair trade. It's a pair trade. They're downgrading Tiffany, and they're downgrading Coach, upgrading Tiffany.
Yeah, no, Joel's starting bad rumors. It's
Just
just
like
coach.
their
This
SCTY.
Joel guy, you gotta watch this guy.
Oh no.
UTX reported earnings here too. Stock is trading actually just slightly higher now. It's trading down earlier. $1.58 versus $1.52. 16.76 billion versus 17.09 billion. So a little light on the revenue, which was making it a little bit weaker earlier in the pre-market, but is trying to have life. This stock was breaking out yesterday, was trying to make new highs, and it actually did. So here's UTX giving back a little bit. It was giving back a little bit, but now it's trying to go higher again.
Two spikes in the pre-market to 116.37 and 116.34. So if you're looking for a potential short or exit on your long, after hitting 116.37 the first time, spiked down to 113, but came right back right back to the 115 level. Looking at it on a daily chart. 115.98 was the all-time high here, so looks like someone might be targeting this whole 116 area to exit this stock. And coming back on the downside here, if you're trying to hold on this long, I know you had a 113 low in the pre-market. But look at Thursday and Friday's lows within 6 cents of each other here. So as long as we stay above that 113.59 level, good to go north here in UTX.
Abbott Labs reported earnings here too, and this stock is starting to get beat up now. It's had major, and I mean major resistance at 40 bucks. There's been an institution selling over 100,000 shares there forever. Every time I look at the book, he's still there, so he's good to go there. 20 or it got up to 39.86 2 days ago. It's fought up and couldn't quite get to the 90s where you could have maybe tried to take a play on this ahead of time. The earnings come out this morning, 58 cents versus 58 cents. The guidance a little bit kind of in line, 216 to 226 versus 222 estimates, so it's kind of in line. But then they're also announcing that they're anticipating buying back 2 billion shares in 2014. So they're trying to say some good stuff here, but the market's not having it, and they are now knocking the stock down 60 cents. It's offered at 38.58.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it's offered down pretty good here right now. So it's saying it's anywhere up in the high 39s. It's a sell all over the place, in my opinion. But I don't think it's going to see that today. It looks like it's going to open lower. I was hoping to get a shot where I might actually, like the Johnson & Johnson the other day, get a shot here to sell it. It actually did tick at 40 if you would have been on it before the report, but I didn't really want to sell it before the report. I wanted to sell it after because I wanted the information. So it's too bad, but it doesn't look like you're going to get a shot in the high 39s.
It's interesting that they're offering this right below the double bottom that you had at 38.72, 38.74. Those were two lows that you had, the seventh and the eighth here. So a little bit low to offer it on those earnings. Maybe get a pop back up. 38.86 was yesterday's low with a 39.12 close. So if you could get a shot at this thing at 39 and perhaps risk up above the close, you might have a good risk reward ratio. Unfortunately for owners of Abbott Labs, there's nothing here below that double bottom. See a little low at 38.27, but you could be at $38 in a hurry here if that 38.70 doesn't hold. And this day, that big green bar there, I'm not for sure what it was, but it may have been just like an upgrade from somebody, and maybe a
I feel like it was upgraded.
and
What day is that?
that was on the December 18th, and
Going back to this, I'm going to the trusty Benzinga Newswire on Abbott Labs,
I'm gonna
looking
say
at
Morgan Stanley or somebody, some kind of Morgan.
what was the date on it?
December 18th.
No, I don't see it. I don't see
There's
anything
no
on
news on
December
December
18th.
18th in Abbott ABT.
I don't see it. I see Morgan Stanley upgrading January the 6th.
No.
That was the last time Morgan Stanley upgraded. It was January 6th.
Hey, Brent, can you
So,
see if you got anything on Abbott Labs on December 18th here?
All right, sure.
We
we'll
had
let Brent go try to hunt
yeah,
it down. He's
because
a little bit better than me on that, working the news desk.
that's a very unusual move for the stock, and it looks
Yeah.
and it got back over the $38 level, and then just consolidated for a couple days and takes off. So
Maybe it was just a technical breakout.
I don't know.
December 18th, right? Is that the right date?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't see anything.
That it shouldn't have moved like that. The Abbott Labs
Shouldn't have moved. It shouldn't have happened. Strike that move from the chart. That
Yeah,
shouldn't have
it's
been
not a valid move. Go back down there to 36.50 and let's retry this again.
Give him a retry. Brent, you find anything? Because I couldn't find anything.
Not yet, but I'm still sort of
All right,
digging.
well, let
Give
him
me a
keep
minute.
hunting down. I'm going to talk about its brother-in-law, ABBV, which was the spin-off of Abbott Labs. Look at this chart and lick your chops a little bit. Look at this $50 level on ABBV, which is AbbVie. They spun this off. When was that? Like last year, I think.
What do they do?
I think it was
I think it was like
It's drugs.
mid 2013. I was gonna say.
when was it?
You said mid 2013.
Yeah, that's just kind of a guess off the top of my head.
Oh Lord.
But look at this
Oh,
$50
Lord.
level. Licking the chops through 50. Get through those lows of 49.63. It's a little ways to go, I guess. But I wonder, with Abbott Labs disappointing today, if this stock's going to show a little bit of sympathy weakness if Abbott does continue to trade down. You got to watch the leader, obviously.
Yeah, four lows in a row, 49.91 to 50.07. So let's see if that actually turns into B resistance. Nothing in the 49 handle. I mean, what you have that low for? Excuse me, 49.63 and 49.64 might cushion the decline a little bit. But after that, it's off to the races and down to $49. I haven't really seen how these trade together at all, but and
I
also
don't think they're really closely related, but I just know that sometimes when there's a drug that's getting beat up, and obviously this was a company that was spun off by them, that could happen. But we don't even know if Abbott Labs is really going to sell off hard yet, though. So we're speculating pretty hard here because 39.12 was a close. We just ticked 38.58, so somebody just bought that guy that was offered there at 38.50.
Yeah, that guy. He obviously wasn't looking at his charts.
He's still got 100 shares there, but I don't know if I'm picking. After an earnings report, I want to sit down and let it digest a little bit. It's hard to make a call here because the report doesn't look that bad. It doesn't look that great. It's wishy-washy here, so it's not like the coach where you can see, oh, this is a bad report. This is kind of like, it could go either way a little bit still.
He wasn't looking at his charts or listening to Benzinga's pre-market info, brought to you by OptionsHouse.
We have so many other earnings. Maybe we should just fly through a few of these. But we'll slow it down on Texas Instruments just for the starter because TXN here has actually been performing quite well. It's at its highs for the year and is actually at its highs since. I'm just got to go back to the charts. I think you got to go back to the tech bubble again. Like this is multi-year highs that this thing just hit right at the end of 2013, and we were ticking up there and finding some resistance up at $44. They did report last night 46 cents against estimates of 46 cents, 3.03 billion versus 2.99 billion. So slight beat on the revenue, but the stock was trading down after hours. It's not trading really anything here this morning. It was trading around 43.41 last night. It's offered 43.50, bid of 43.25.
42.48 was the initial spike. Got a
Overdone.
yeah, overdone. Got right back up to the $44 level. Now the decline has continued. You are being trading right now at the low from yesterday, 43.37, 43.41 last trade. So theoretical support here. For some reason, I just think the way this chart looks, you're going to test that $43 level today. 43.01 was the low on Friday. Not a lot after that. I'd use 43, then 42 and a half. The low right below that, 42.35, but not looking good under 43 bucks.
Norfolk Southern. So we had CSX reporting last week and they massively disappointed. NSC, not the case. The stock is trading up here, $3 in the pre-market. They reported earnings this morning at $1.64 versus $1.50. So a nice beat. Even beat on the revenue, 2.9 billion versus 2.84 billion. And that stock is popping up here too, getting close to new highs for the year. The highs at the end of last year were up in the 93 handle. So if it continues to run up here, though, it's not out of the question this thing can make new highs.
Are you licking your chops here at 92 bucks? 92.14 was the high on the 6. You're right there on what? No volume, no volume whatsoever. I'd not buying this in 92 with your dollars. You had a high at 92.14, 92.53. I think it's anywhere near that area. Major resistance there.
There's
Just
definitely some resistance. The one reason I'd be hesitant a little bit to short is you did have everybody probably leaning the other way because the CSX earnings came out and they were bad. So you've got, and then they whacked this stock too. They whacked this on the CSX earnings. You can see when it went from 91 all the way down to 87. Everybody's speculating, well, if CSX quarter is bad, NSC's quarter is going to probably be bad too. So they whacked it. So now they're repricing it back up because we just got the information and it wasn't bad. So now you're back up here at 92 again, where we were before. And now if you decide that this report was good, that's where I run into this whole theory that you could possibly see the whole 93.17 area. I think that is the 52 week, and maybe that's the all-time high too. I'm not sure. I go back to 2005. That's the high since 2005. I don't think it's higher than
I
that.
smell a wager here. I
I
know.
think it sees. I think it can kiss it. I think it can kiss a new. I want 93 bucks. I want it just to get up there because I think there's resistance up there. So I'll take 93,
Uh
and
huh.
we'll ignore the pre-market trading. If it ticks 100 shares, it doesn't count. It's got to happen in the regular session.
Okay.
So I'm gonna take. It's at. Well, I don't know if I can really say it's
Yeah,
at
you're gonna
92.
go
Trade
nine.
an odd lot at 92
Okay,
here.
you're going 93, and I got 91 for the.
No, I don't
Yeah,
know
no,
because
no, come on. You said did you Momo guy? Come on. I'm willing to go the steak dinner, and the
that's
one,
how he's trying to get everything back on
and
this
the
one.
one
He
lunch
owes.
and the
Let's
one
just go
lunch
over
I owe
what
you,
Joel.
and the one lunch that Joe owes you.
Let's go over what Joel owes right now. He owes steak dinner and he owes two potbelly lunches, two of them. And now he's trying to pawn off another one that Joe, he says, owes me. But no, it's from Joel. He owes me two potbellies and a steak dinner. I will go one of the potbelly lunches and I will take 93. And this isn't pre-market. It touches 91 in the pre-market, no go. But I will take 93. You get 91. Has to happen in the regular session.
Okay, all
So
right.
you may get one of those Potbelly lunches back.
Okay, all right. That's good.
Oh, we got
I
a
feel
trade.
great
So
about this
write
one.
that one down. He feels good
I'm
about
good.
this one. He's
I'm
gonna
putting
owe
that.
free Potbelly
I'm
lunches, folks, after they open.
I'm
'Cause I
put.
think this thing's going up to 93.
I put NSC over the S&Ps on my quotes. That's how much I'm going to be watching it. But
USB is trading down here right now. US Bancorp comes out 76 cents versus 76
ooh,
cents. Light on the revenue, 4.89 billion versus 4.98 billion. I'm kicking myself a little bit on this one because right after the report, somebody comes up and bids 42 bucks for 300 shares. I was like, I should whack that. I'm looking at it. I'm like, I should whack that. I'm like, it hasn't traded at all yet, but the report doesn't look great. And there's major resistance up there at 42. And there's a huge institution there. It's on 160,000 shares. I didn't realize he was there. I see him in the book now. If I would have known he was there, I would have definitely smacked him at 42. But I didn't smack him. I thought about it for about 10 seconds, then somebody else hit him. And then I go and try to hit, and there's nothing there, obviously. So now then, 4160, 4150. Now it's down to 4123. So I could have taken a quick 100 or what is that, $225 off this thing right now. If I would have just whacked that stupid 42, but I did not. And I'm dumb, but it is what it is. Stock's trading down now.
Mixed earnings here with some of these banks. Bank of America kicking butt, and then Citigroup not doing so well. So really a mixed bag with the earnings here. You got a nice level to look at though in this USB. Two lows at 41.08, 41.12. Those are the lows for the 15th and 16th. Haven't quite got there yet in the pre-market. So I'll look at that area as pretty good support. If in fact it takes that out, could be looking at 40.58 in a heartbeat. Coming back on the upside, two highs, 41.66 and 86. Call that 41.76. Even the close, I'd even, people probably want to get out at the market this, so I'd move resistance down to the close at 41.58.
We got DJ.
We just lost Dennis here.
Poor Dennis.
Oh yeah,
He just gets cut out like that. What stock were you guys just gonna cover?
I,
I feel like he had earnings
yeah.
all waiting and ready to go, all primed up.
And do we have any new earnings releases coming out?
You guys were just talking about USB, right?
Yep. Yep.
I was thinking that was gonna be kind of in line with the a number of the other regionals that are coming out right now. We also had Northern Trust out this morning. That is November Tango Romeo Sandy NTRS. Another one of these regional guys.
And that is a bank here that's trades on Nasdaq, huh?
That's right.
Huh. That's that's kind of rare here.
You mean the Nasdaq of
Right,
it?
right.
Gotcha.
Yep. Let me pull that up here.
So they reported
And,
Q4 EPS of, I'm pulling it up. They reported 75 cents versus 76 cents. The sales were 1.05 billion versus 1.04 billion. So I mean, mostly in line, but a little mix there.
Okay, you know what? Before we hop to this, we're gonna take a quick break and bring Dennis back in. So,
Okay.
all right, we'll be right back with you. Welcome back, traders. I guess our lines froze up here in this.
Those gremlins,
yeah,
man.
those
It's the
gremlins. But
gremlins again.
DJ's popping in with a comment here on Abbott Labs here.
DJ's looking for a spot on the news desk, apparently.
Jeff, what he's saying here in the chat, Jeffrey says a new list called Franchise Picks. Brent, do you know anything about Franchise Picks from Jeffries?
I'm not familiar with that one,
Hmm.
but it wouldn't put me past Jeffries to pull a fast one like this.
Well, the comment DJ is saying from the chat is making the grade from the healthcare space. This is from Jeffries. Is Abbott Labs, where Jeffries expects margins and multiple expansion. The company deserves a higher multiple given their ability to continue to grow margins, and because the lower multiple device business is only 20% of sales. The firm research team adds.
So that was the move on the 18th, I believe he was pointing out. December 18th. We were
Oh,
looking for that
Is
move.
that what it was?
I
Oh, you
think
found that.
so.
Deep
Abbott
has
makes
that
Jeffrey's
now.
new franchise pick list announced December 18th. So I mean, it was like a 5 to 6% move on that day. That's a large move, definitely.
So
I'm not.
that's where that move was made.
Yeah.
So we found the mystery move there, Joel. So it was warranted.
and it's right back at $38.
It's right there right now. What do you think though? We just took the 38.10. We were trading 38.09. We're down $1 here in Abbott Labs now. Do you think this is getting a little bit cheap here?
I don't like the way it looks under. I mean, under 38. I mean, after you
You want
had,
it above 30? Well, it's still above 38. You want it to stay
yeah.
above 38.
I don't know, 37. I mean, you got those two lows at 37.81, 37.95. I think I'd still rather sell this thing in a pop than in a hole here. But you blow that 37.81, you get to take out that whole stupid Jeffries franchise move down to 36.50 area. So they're coming out. They're defending their position now.
Yeah, it's got a sell imbalance too. The imbalances come out at 8:30 every morning. Sometimes we talk about them on the show here. 44,000 shares to sell right now, so it is looking like it is going to open weaker here. Obviously, Abbott Labs here. Other notable imbalances, I can just look at a few. Obviously, IBM's got a sell imbalance. It's going to trade quite a bit lower. You got Johnson and Johnson with a sell imbalance here of 43,000 shares, or 51,000 shares now. So that's pretty significant. Basically, if you don't know what the imbalances are, it's just telling you the difference between the opening and the closing. So, for example, Johnson Johnson closed at 94.03. If I put an order to sell the stock New York book at $94 right now, that is below the close, and that will be added. That will order will add to the sell imbalance. If I put an order to buy it above 94.03, that will add to the buy imbalance. So that's how these opening imbalances work. A little different than the closing imbalances. But right now, J&J is looking like a sell imbalance. Just kind of looking at some of the other ones. A couple of the banks actually, Wells Fargo's got a little buy imbalance, and these change as more orders come in and as you get closer to the open. These typically will obviously move around more. So we'll update you as we go a little bit further.
How about that
Uh,
move in J&J yesterday?
yeah, J&J, man, I should have shorted a whole pile of it when I was up there just kissing around that 95. I ended up getting, just 100 shares,
96.
which
It
was
was
a
trading at
feeler order. Yeah,
96.
yeah, 95 and change is what I was going to say, but I ended up obviously only getting 100 shares, and I covered it too soon too, so I pretty much screwed up everything on that trade. But yeah, you could have sold that 5,000 guy bid 5,000 shares at 95.90. Man, somebody had a good hit on that one because obviously the stock got down to 92.62 yesterday. So that guy could have taken over 3 points on a J&J trade. J&J usually moves a buck. So that's just a huge move for J&J.
And look what it did when it came on the downside here. You had a gap to fill down to 92.75 and went to 92.62. It went by it through 13 cents. And then rebounded heavily to get back to close at 94.03 here. What do you think about when stocks have supposed? Well, actually, they came out and they lowered guidance a little bit during their conference call. So like they were at 585, they went 575 to 585. I mean, do you think? I mean, the earnings were supposedly good for the quarter. They kind of guided it lower for the year now. How? I mean, don't you think things are going to thicken up here if this thing rallies today?
Oh, if the thing gets up into the 95 handle, I think there's sellers all over the place here. But I don't even think it doesn't look like it's going to open up here this morning. Right now, like I was saying, it's got a 51,000 share sell imbalance. It's trading down slightly here in the pre-market. But if that imbalance does hold, it's probably going to open in the mid 93s. So you're kind of in the middle of the air. Obviously, you got good support at yesterday's low at 92.62. I don't think you're going to see that today. But I think you get up in the 94s and the 95s. I think there is people that are probably a little concerned, especially with the sell-off yesterday, and they may look to lighten up their positions. So I don't think this thing's going to be one of those that just comes back all of a sudden and it's trading back at 95, 90 in a week. I think it's definitely leaning the other way a little bit now, where I'm probably a seller of rallies in J&J, especially in the 95 handle if we ever get back up there.
Okay, and still have some more earnings plays. Or are we going to move on to
There-
the
Well,
upgrade?
let's move off the earnings for a bit. We can come back. We do have a few other ones there that reported here, some smaller companies, but let's move away from the earnings just for a second here. MasterCard, we got the 10 for 1 split
Oh
today. So
yeah.
we've been talking about this. This has been obviously, they announced this over a month ago. Today is the X split day. So today it is trading X split. And just like we thought and we suspected, these things tend to trade higher in the pre-market. So the adjusted close for the 10 for 1 split is 81.81. It is trading up at 82.33 right now, so it's actually up 50 cents. For the guys that took it home overnight and got their 10 or the 10 for 1 shares there, actually can already cash out for 50 cents here on the $82 stock.
Looking at the charts here, though, it's going to open into yesterday's high, which was 82.66. You had also had the 83.40 high, but you had another high here at the 82.80 and 82.98 here. So if you can get up into that 83 handle, I think you're going to see good resistance. Of course, you first got to deal with that 82. Well, you had 82.63 pre-market high, and then you had the high from yesterday at 82.66. So if you're looking to fade this thing or take some profits on those 10 times the amount of shares that you have, 82.66 looks like a good level.
Do have a buy and balance this morning on it for 26,000 shares.
Nothing.
So that would be
No.
consistent with the stock trading up here in the pre-market as well. So it does look like it's going to open higher here. Obviously, keep an eye on Visa here. The stock Visa has been running though. It's been running for the last 2 days here. I'm not sure if they're speculating something's going to happen there. Or I don't know what the move. What was the catalyst there yesterday? Would have been actually on Friday that really popped Visa when it went from 222 to 232. That was an incredible move there for Visa. It is trading down just slightly here in the pre-market. From an imbalance perspective, there's really nothing there, only 300 shares. But what was the catalyst there, Brent? Do you know what the catalyst was on Friday?
He's taking a look. While he's doing that,
I
I'll
am
take
taking a look.
235.50 all time high, 231.93 the all time. No, had a 232.18 all time high close. So 232 good level here ahead of the all time high at 235.50.
Was that just a technical breakout? Like,
Oh, you know what was happening on Friday? There was a lot of talks of about the Durbin appeal over the credit card swipe transactions, the debit and credit
oh
card. You know
yeah,
what I'm talking about?
that was bouncing the stock around a
I
few
mean,
times last year.
this Durbin thing has been going on for a couple years now.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's definitely something that's been affecting these credit card processors, but it seems like it's still kind of like a far off sort of thing, I guess.
I'll tell you, I'm getting really fed up with these credit cards. I just got a call from Lisa before the show started that our Visa card was compromised and someone ordered like,
Really?
yeah, I mean they're right on top of it and stuff, and I mean this is probably the second or third time it's happened in the last couple of years, and
It's annoying.
it's not a big deal. I mean I got other credit cards, but my girls are up at school, and that's the credit card that they have. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they hired the programmer from Target or what here, but it's crazy the way this fraud happens.
Yeah, and Target's still kind of cascading down. The stock broke through 60, continued to fly down there yesterday. Stock got as low as 58.80, bounced to close at 59.20, but that stock's basically just been a sell ever since they started reporting this stuff. It was up at like $64 when that whole story broke, and is now down in the 59 handle.
And too bad you didn't go out another week on your
I
weekly.
know the puts I went too low. Well, I wouldn't have got it for 3 cents. I was a really lottery
Yeah,
ticket play. I was hoping
right,
it could really go down. I made a
right.
little bit on it, but obviously if it would have had that move, and they never do. They always have the move the next week because you do have option players like me that are sitting with lottery
Yeah,
ticket
you
money
were
that are probably holding
squeezing
the
it.
damn thing up. Yeah, so it's almost a play to know that there's people like me holding it up, and once I'm going to be gone, players like with the little lottery ticket, you look at the open interest on the weeklies. If it's real high at the $60 level, they pin it there, and then obviously it can break down the next day. So sometimes that might be a play, even if you're not an option trader, just to log those open interests because there's an edge there. If you think that it's just being held there just because of option players.
Right, and
So
that target, I mean, there's just doesn't appear to be any bottom in sight here. We made a low yesterday at 58.80, bounced up to close at 59.20. So there you have trading up a little bit, but if you take out that 58.80 here, you need to go almost to the monthlies here to find support in this thing. And if you're taking a look at the monthly charts, you will notice that you had a couple monthly lows in the lower 58, 58.01, and 58.30. So that could be a next stopping point. There's another chart I just want to bring up here just randomly, and Shaky Jake was asking me for some technicals on this one. And Dennis, you're gonna be looking. I just hope you don't buy puts right away on this thing. But check out this Whole Foods market, WFM, and
Oh,
just look at this thing. If let me pull it up.
wow.
Look at
It's
that.
trading up here in the pre-market, but that's sitting on support at 52. Hardcore support at 52 bucks.
Yeah. What do
If
you
that
think?
takes that out, ooh, that would
Yeah.
get.
What? I mean, it's leaning on there. I got a couple pops off it here. But look at that. Like the last four lows right there in the $52 area here. So if you're looking to whack the overpriced grocery store, keep an eye out on that $52 level. We got
Somebody
it. Yeah, we got a question here from J Dot. He's been kind of quiet today. Says why doesn't Congress pass a law for creditors make cards more secure like the ones used in Europe?
I
Uh,
don't know like much about Europe, if anybody's from Europe, but obviously maybe the regulations. Brent's saying, what are you saying, Brent, there on this?
I mean, just totally anecdotal, but if you go over there, like you get looked at crazy because you have a swipe card. They all have the chips in their cards. I mean,
Yeah.
just generally, it seems like their sort of technology and I mean regulation isn't exactly the right word, but sort of just their limitations on cards are a lot more efficient than they are over here.
Do you got a chip card in yours, Joel? Do you have the chips on yours?
I don't think there's
Like
many.
the PIN number?
I know you have a chip, right, Dennis?
Yeah, on both of mine, I've got Mastercard. I've got a couple Mastercards there. I was with Visa before, but yeah, I've
Joel,
got the chip where you got to put the thing in the thing and you got to punch in your PIN number.
yeah, they like put it into the machine rather than slide. You've never seen that,
Yeah,
Joel?
I
exactly.
mean, I
So,
have that. I mean, for my debit card, I don't have. I
but you
mean,
don't have it on your credit card, and
I'm
so a
gonna
lot of
get it though.
You better believe.
No.
that's interesting because in Canada, I think they're all chipped now,
I
pretty
think
much
so
all the
too.
credit cards up here too. So they should put that, they should have that in there, obviously. I think, and for better protection, and maybe they're gonna start to come in and obviously think about this a little bit harder here too. When you're starting to get the credit cards compromised, it helps. I mean, it helps when you get the PIN, but even that, these guys are good, man. If they really want to get your credit card information, they can probably get your PIN too. I mean, there's just ways. I remember some story. I don't know if this was in Canada or where this was, but at the debit card machines at the bank, they had a hidden camera installed there, and they were looking at the people and getting their PIN numbers from this hidden camera they had installed at a bank machine.
Oh, like
Did you hear that
some
story?
some some criminals installed the
It,
camera, not
yeah,
the
criminals
ATM.
had
Okay.
installed a camera in a bank machine, and everybody getting there, they were like copying the
Wow.
PIN number from people who were typing it in. So I mean, there's some criminals that are real smart out there. So even if it goes to those pins, if they really want to get your information, I kind of think they're going to get it, especially if they're really smart.
And
And a lot
what
of these
company
criminals are
makes the chip? What company does that for a long-term fundamental play?
like
Is that like a
chip.
is that like a Verifone
It could be. It could be.
pay?
Okay, Brent's issuing a screaming conviction, adding to the Brent conviction buy list.
It's a long list though, so
Verifone. What is
So,
what's it? What's the symbol on that? Pay. That's right. That's right. I knew it was
hey,
something funky like that.
yeah, they got a good symbol there. Pay. I like it when they come up with,
Look
and
at
here's a
that.
stock.
Look,
Look at
look
that.
at
Yeah.
that,
Brent,
Brent.
where were
Look.
you last week on this call, man? This thing's popped like $4 in the last week here. You should have been all over this. This is straight up since the whole Target debacle.
Yeah, it
So,
is. Oh my gosh, Brent. And then if you go a little bit, on a longer chart here, it doesn't look like you're too late to the party here. You could be
nice.
going to $35. Good call, Brent.
Sweet.
I got that. Let's talk about. You want to talk about something crazy? That
I knew you
ONVO,
were gonna bring
which
that up.
obviously J Dot here. We're looking at it yesterday, and you had the Citron report. I've actually got the report here in front of me. Citron. This happened yesterday during the day. Issues urgent trading warning to the general public regarding Organovo. ONVO is a money-losing, highly speculative biotech company which has been swept up in the mania for 3D printing stocks. ONVO has been spinning a story that its technology would allow the bioprinting of replacement organs. Admittedly, the story has sizzle, but that is where it stops. And they've got a whole report here. I can actually post it in there. And this is another one like a Muddy Waters, Citron. They come in here, but they literally there's one line here that they say, who is buying this S explicit explicit? So who is buying this crap is basically what they're saying. They're also saying that there's no institutional holdings in this. So they're making this whole speculative thing that this is just kind of like a boiler room scam, like almost like from the Wolf of Wall Street type of deal over there in China. It scared me, man. When I read this report, I was scared, but you got to take it with a grain of salt. These companies come out, they short these stocks ahead of this, and then they issue these reports. So I'm looking through this, and I don't see anything hardcore evidence. It's a lot of speculation in this report. So I'm not sure what to think about that, but it is concerning, obviously, when reports are issued like this.
Right. It took that dive straight down, and it's interesting that the level that it got to the $10 level here. It actually snuck below that. It kind of had been in that trading range, and then it got below it here. Made a low at 975. Okay, and then it recovered on the day here. So, and it settled above 10 here. This is big. This is the moment of truth for ONVO here. It's gonna have to shrug off this report over the next couple days and get back and hold the $10 level that had been acting. It was first good resistance, and then it was support 3-4 times. So I would say $10. The story. If it doesn't hold that, the story's over. I'll throw in the towel. Could be going back down to $9, but I don't know, Dennis. I mean, it seems like these guys are just getting away with bloody murder here. The whole NQ Mobile thing. Just to go back, that was Muddy Waters. I mean, they issued that report. The stock, the
Stock
street.
went from like $23 to like what did it get down to like 758? Now it's
Yeah,
back at 17.
yeah. I mean,
You'll
do you think they
yeah.
covered? Can we call the firm today? Is there anybody from Muddy Waters listening to pre-market info? I mean, did you take the opportunity to cover your short that you put on before, then you put out this bad news? I don't know, Dennis. I thought this stuff used to be illegal.
Well, it's these pump and dump stuff. Like there's so many, you get like obviously the icons and the Acmans come out, they disclose their positions and things pop on it. These are kind of like a little more even ridiculous. They'll come out, they'll short the stock, and then they'll issue some report here, based on whatever facts that they can come up with to issue some down, and knowing it's going to knock the stock down. My question is, are they covering in these reports? Like, did Muddy Waters cover in that debacle there? Because if they're doing stuff like that, isn't it kind of like manipulation? I mean, you're always entitled to your opinion, so you got to give them props for having that strong of pull to be able to knock the stock down like that. But man, it's starting to get ridiculous, some of these reports. If they have hardcore evidence against companies, that's one thing maybe, and maybe you got to issue this. But I'm looking at this Citron report on ONVO, and their whole thesis for this whole report is just that there's no institutional ownership. So who's buying this? So we don't know who's buying this. This must be a pump and dump thing. I mean, they're jumping to a lot of conclusions very quickly with not a lot of hard evidence there. So, and the same thing, the NQ, NQ Mobile's come back here. It's back at $17 here now, and it's looking like it was a hell of a deal down there at $7. So I'm not sure what to say about all these companies either. I kind of I'm leaning on your side there, Joel.
All right, Brent, I just want to.
What?
Does Muddy Waters have to follow 13F? I mean,
No.
No, they don't.
Definitely
they don't.
not,
So they can
no.
do what the
As
hell
far
they
as I
want.
know, no.
They can do what the hell they want to do in the market, and no one's gonna point a finger at them, huh?
I mean, to be fair, Andrew Left, who was on CNBC last night, he openly disclosed that he's been shorting the stock, and these guys, the Citrons of the world and the Muddy Waters of the world, it's kind of interesting because I feel like there's a community of traders out there who sort of view these guys as kind of like a corporate raider or like a corporate bandit. Like, I mean, if the things that are happening at Organova are actually happening, then they are saving some kind of face out there. They're saving investors some kind of money. And I know that I've heard Carson Black sort of sell himself and Muddy Waters as kind of like a corporate raider, I guess, if you guys get what I'm saying.
I just wonder what I mean. You don't ever hear the SEC, coming out or FINRA coming out and discussing anything with these guys. So I mean, it must be okay. I just I mean, the thing about somebody like Warren Buffett, I mean, he'll buy his Exxon Mobil and he'll have it. He has to disclose his position. Just
And
because
he holds it.
Very true.
everyone piles in on it, that's not his fault, and you know he's not selling in it because he doesn't sell
Yeah,
anything.
he's not selling into that rally. Like these are just ops that like pump and dump things themselves. And if Muddy Waters is covering that NQ like a few days after issuing that report down at 8-9 bucks, I think I do have an issue with that. And I mean, it might be legal here right now, and maybe it shouldn't be,
Hmm.
because these company and if there's nothing really backing up the facts here, everybody's entitled to their opinion, and I guess that's where it becomes a freedom of speech here. It becomes a lot
Right.
of issues here. But when they're flat out short in a whole pile of stock, issue some crazy report that's hard on opinion and not hard on facts, and then all of a sudden the stock falls 60%, and you cover into it. I don't know.
Well,
So I'd be curious to see what they're doing too.
here's my question for Muddy Waters on this NQ Mobile. They said it was going to zero, right? So why would they be covering anywhere?
Yeah, so if they didn't cover, maybe that's one thing too. So maybe we're speculating. Maybe they haven't covered. Maybe they're still short the
They
stock.
should be
They're
shorting
still
more
sticking
if
with
they think
it.
it's going
And
to
then that's a
zero.
different story. And that's a different story. My concern, my issue would be is if they covered already and now they're taking the trade and they've moved on, because that almost just looks like they're like, just causing mischief out there in that case. But if they didn't cover though, I think, then they're entitled to their opinion and they're holding to it. So that's a different story. So I think we would just have to look at their trade history, their blotter, and see, did they cover? And then you got to start investigating some of this stuff. And is this just a way for you to quickly, get short stock and make a quick 10, 20, 30%? Or do you really, believe this is happening and you're going to stick to your position?
Dennis. I guess I'm. You're not even gonna have a shot at 93 bucks here. I knew
Is
it.
it coming down?
I knew it. I could have got
man.
even on everything. I could have got
Nope.
even
You're
on.
going to get one of those pot belly meals back. Come on,
I'm-
guys.
I'm-
Got to get back up there.
You get in there and start buying,
I'm
Winifred.
going to buy the 91 right now because I don't want to pay the $5 pot belly meal, so I'll pooch myself.
Finally, the streak is over. All right,
Hey, there was a real one quick I did want to mention on the Organova story. Andrew left on CBC last night did say he was shorting another 3D printing stock. He would not name which one. Just a quick note out there.
Ooh,
You know what,
which
Dennis?
three? One of the
Scary.
big ones? One of the big ones? Or a little company?
He
wouldn't say
which
yeah.
one. I would say this for the ONVO shareholders. I mean, it's either worth zero because they're correct and they have absolutely nothing,
Yeah, it's
or
firearms. That's
or
nothing.
if they could actually produce and come to with product what they say they're doing, then you could have like an ICPT kind of like rally here, and look what that stock's done. It's actually recovered nicely off the 250 level here. It's climbing back up, but zero or
I'm
100.
You know how Chris is playing it, because I was asking him, the big options trader, and I told him about this ONVO, and he liked the story as well. And he decided that it's better to buy that long-term calls. So he actually went out, and I'm going to go look at the charts on the calls on this thing right now. But he was looking at the 2015, so going out a full year, the Jan 2015 options, and he was picking up the 15 calls. I think
Probably for like
he's paying
$4.
no, they're like $1.80. So the
Wow.
way he was talking, which he says, well, he thinks the same story. He thinks it's probably worth nothing, or it's probably worth a lot more than where it is right now, depending on the story. And we might find a lot more information out in the next year. So he's only risking $1.80, as opposed to somebody that's flat out buying the stock. They're risking 10 points right now. So that's an interesting way to play it there. So I think that's what he was buying, was the $1.80 he was buying, and this was a little while, or $1.90 he was buying the 15 calls for. So that's an interesting way to play some of these speculative companies.
Yeah, you know your risk.
You know your risk. He's
Yeah.
risking the $1.80. He's like, I'm going to take it, ride on it. And he figures, if it's worth zero, well, I'm not going to lose 10 points. I'm going to lose $1.80. But obviously, if the move doesn't happen the next year, then he'd be out. But he's speculating that the move is going to happen the next year, which I tend to agree with. So that's an interesting way to play it too.
Okay,
So.
all right. We've covered just about everything. The S&Ps have recovered just a tad here, back up unchanged, a little bit over 1839 and a quarter. So we are posed for another test in 1840 handle. So Dennis will let you get to your keyboard there, bang out some trades, start buying
See.
the NSC to get it back up there. And
You got a lot of
you
upgrades
know
in
what you're
down there.
gonna do?
Sure,
You're
keep
gonna
it
pull
posted.
like a Joe on me, and you're in the high of the day. Oh,
91
there's
just traded,
91.
Joel.
Just traded 91. Okay, you're gonna say, well, if the high's 90.98, then it never traded 91 in the regular session. I could see you pulling something like that.
Oh, look, you're smart. I am gonna pull
No,
that.
you're not.
Because you're at 91. Wow, you're a genius, Joel.
It was
I'm totally holding you that. If
no
that thing
way.
goes
I
to
think you
90.
just gave him that idea, Joel.
No, he's
Wow, I
got.
can't believe you gave me that idea. Totally. Guys, what do you think in the chat? I think if the deal is 93 or 91, if it doesn't trade either of those prices, I think the bet's just off. What's the chat think?
I think I threw you a bone, but
Oh,
I
yeah.
know I'm a
I'll
winner.
hold that.
Winner,
Go down, NSC. Go down.
winner, chicken dinner. Okay, all right. We're on to Joe Young here with the morning headlines.
Oh, thank you very much, Joel. Hey, Joel, I have a question for you
Sure.
before you go. You want to smoke some pot?
Sure.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, in addition to that, if you're interested in any sort of cannabis-related stocks, there's a piece going in the queue right now, 14 cannabis stocks to watch in 2014. So definitely take a gander at that to get in on this great industry that we have coming up on us ahead of the super high bowl. Right?
That's only if you're with me, Joe.
You got it, buddy. You got it.
Okay.
We'll get Shubs' guy to get us some pot, and I know he's got some hidden up under his wool hat there.
Okay.
Moving into today's editorial headlines from around the globe, Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway has teamed up with Dan Gilbert, owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers and Quicken Loans, to offer the billion-dollar bracket incentive. If there's a winner, Buffett says it will be paid out in 25 annual installments of about $25 million. While there is no simple path to success, it sure doesn't get much easier than filling out a bracket online, Buffett said in a news release. To quote a commercial from one of my companies, I dare say it's so easy to enter that even a caveman could do it. If your bracket gets busted but is still near perfect, you might be eligible for one of 20 runner-up prizes of $100,000 each, but those prizes have to be used towards buying or remodeling a home. Organizers say more details on how to enter will be released closer to the start of the NCAA tournament, which tips off with Selection Sunday on March 16th. If anyone in the chat is interested, we will keep you posted on how to enter that contest.
Joe, how clever is that guy? He's bringing his own commercial into just like a normal daily conversation.
If I do say so myself, he's pretty darn clever
So witty.
for a guy that drinks cherry Coke and eats ice cream for breakfast. I think that's the recipe, the breakfast of champions. Google Glass has raised privacy concerns in many countries. It now appears that it is being monitored as a potential aid to copyright infringement. A man who wore Google Glass to a movie theater in Ohio was detained and interrogated by officials of the Department of Homeland Security, highlighting concerns that the device may be used by people to illegally record movies at a theater. A spokesman for the Motion Picture Association of America, which works closely with theaters all over the U.S. to curb camcording and theater-originated piracy, said Tuesday that no such activity was discovered in the particular case. The DHS could not be immediately reached for comment. In an account to the Gadgeteer, the unnamed person said he went to the AMC Theater in Easton Mall in Columbus, Ohio on Saturday to watch a movie with his wife. Because I don't want glass to distract me during the movie, I turn them off, but since my prescription lenses are on the frame, I still wear them, he told the Gadget Review website. So, let it be known that the guy was actually using Google Glass as corrective lenses, but it was not functioning while he was in the theater. A California court handed 2 victories to Apple on Tuesday, strengthening the iPhone maker's bargaining position ahead of next month's mediation talks with rival Samsung. U.S. District Judge Lucy Koh, who has presided over most of the legal battles between the two companies in the U.S., issued 2 summary judgments in favor of Apple before the technology giants square off again in the next round of patent litigation lawsuits, slated to start in March. Sears Holdings said on Tuesday that it plans to close its flagship location in the Loop this spring. The troubled Hoffman Estates-based retailer will start its liquidation sale at the location at 2 North State Street on January 26th and shut its doors in April. Just in case you guys weren't aware, because Shubs didn't put in here, that's in Chicago. Sears' flagship store in Chicago is closing.
So much for the Sears Tower, huh?
So much for
It's,
that.
I think that's
it's
already-
really not the Sears Tower anymore.
We'll have to come up with a pun for that later on. We'll hand that over to Jake. Jake, you start thinking about puns for the Sears Tower in Chicago, okay? And by the way, it's the Herbie Hancock Tower. Oh, come on. Chris Farley lived there. He made the joke. The store has lost millions of dollars since opening, and we can no longer continue to support the store's operating losses, a spokesman said in an email. The store has about 160 mostly hourly employees who will be given severance and the chance to apply for open positions at other Sears or Kmart stores. The spokesman added that the store's closure is part of the company's ongoing efforts to cut costs. Chief Executive Officer Edward Lampert, the company's largest shareholder, has been shedding assets, selling locations, and spinning off the smaller format stores and part of the Canadian business amid a continuing sales decline. Lampert's also investing in technology in hopes of stemming years of losses at Sears Holdings, which owns both Sears and Kmart. On Tuesday, T-Mobile, the number 4 U.S. carrier, announced a service called Mobile Money that aims to take aim. Thank you, Shubs. Aims to take aim at another necessary segment of the U.S. economy, the finance industry. Specifically, T-Mobile is hoping to offer an alternative for the 70 million or so U.S. adults that either have no bank account or have some bank services but still rely somewhat on check cashing or payday loan services. Such customers, including plenty of T-Mobile's existing customers, are often paying hundreds or thousands of dollars in fees per year for managing their own money. T-Mobile Vice President Andrew Sherrard said in an interview. They are really getting hammered with egregious fees by the industry, Sherrard said, noting that the company is trying to extend the customer-friendly policies it has in wireless into the financial industry. Through the combination of a smartphone and a prepaid Visa debit card, T-Mobile and its banking partner Bancor aims to offer many of the services typically offered through a bank, including check cashing, direct deposit, and bill pay. The service allows customers to purchase and reload the card at more than 3,000 T-Mobile stores and eventually at Safeway and other retailers. Nearly all of the smallest vehicles on U.S. roads failed to get passing marks on a tough new crash test from the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety. The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, the Virginia-based group that prods automakers into building safer vehicles through crash tests, said just one mini car out of 11 tested received an acceptable rating in the small overlap front crash test. That makes minicars the poorest performing group of any evaluated so far. General Motors Chevrolet Spark received an acceptable overall rating in the small overlap test, along with good ratings in the IIHS's 4 other crashworthiness evaluations to win a top safety pick award. Small lightweight vehicles have an inherent safety disadvantage. That's why it's even more important to choose one with the best occupant protection, said Joe Nolan, IIHS Senior Vice President for Vehicle Research. Every minicar, including the Spark, rated marginal or poor for structure. The rapid adoption of smartphones and the applications that run on mobile devices will make 2014 a tipping point that radically changes the way people work and live, said Marissa Mayer, Yahoo's chief executive. Speaking at the World Economic Forum on Wednesday, Ms. Mayer said technological advances were fundamentally changing the way that people connect with the world, ranging from how they conduct daily errands to their willingness to lend their car to a stranger. It makes connecting and trusting people easier, Mayer said. Mayer said also 2014 would be a crossover year for Yahoo, which for the first time expects more traffic from its users on mobile phones and tablets than on personal computers. Birds fly in a distinctive V formation to arrange themselves in aerodynamically optimum positions while precisely timing the flapping of their wings, scientists have found. Is this news? We didn't know this already? No? Flying in a V for Victor formation helps each bird take advantage of good air upwash thrown up by the wings of the flyer in front. This is boring. I'm not going to read this. Two-time Oscar-nominated Jonah Hill revealed that he was paid the equivalent of Hollywood's minimum wage for his role in Martin Scorsese's flick The Wolf of Wall Street. Hill, 30 years old, told Howard Stern in a radio interview that I actually listened to, it was really cool, on Tuesday that he wanted to work with the legendary director so much that he was willing to take the pay cut. I think SAG minimum is something like $60,000 before commissions and taxes, Hill told the Shock Jock. They gave me the lowest amount of money possible. That was their offer, he said.
And you know what he's gonna win because of it? He's gonna win an Oscar. Supporting actor, right? I think. Oh, he's gonna win it for sure. It was a great role he played.
So, in response to that offer, Jonah Hill said, I will sign the paper tonight, fax me the papers, and I want to sign them tonight before they change their mind. I said I want to sign them before I go to sleep tonight so they legally can't change their mind. The Moneyball actor starred alongside fellow Oscar nominee Leonardo DiCaprio as Donnie Azoff and was paid $60,000 for a nearly 7-month shoot. I would sell my house and give him all my money to work for Scorsese, Hill said. I would have done anything in the world, and he would do it again in a second. Today's trivia tidbit. A happy birthday to the late, great Sam Cooke. Sam Cooke would have turned 83 years old today. So we actually have a trivia question, if anyone's interested.
Who is Sam Cooke?
You don't know who Sam Cooke is? Wait, are you being serious, Joel?
I think he thought that was the trivia question.
I thought everyone knew who Sam Cooke was.
So what's the trivia
The
question?
trivia question is, what iconic Cooke song was released 2 weeks after his death? Does anyone have a clue?
Uh-oh, Joel's Googling.
I don't Google. I don't cheat.
I think I'm stumped on this one. We got some chatters out there.
Oh, well, the answer may surprise you.
Oh, did it just surprise you? Was that your
It did surprise
exasperation?
me, actually.
Okay.
I'm going to just wait a few more seconds. Sam Cooke was a really cool guy, although apparently there's some dispute over his death. I was under the impression that he was shot by his wife, who caught him cheating. Apparently he was shot by a hotel manager whom he attacked when he was trying to inquire about a woman who was not his wife that he had arrived with at the hotel. And let's see.
I think you stumped.
Jay is guessing you send me. Okay.
Oh.
Thank you, Jay, for participating. The answer is A Change Is Gonna Come, written in 1963, first recorded in January 1964, and released under the RCA Victor label shortly after his death on December 22nd, 1964. Though only a modest hit for Cooke in comparison with previous singles, the song came to exemplify the 1960s civil rights movement and has gained in popularity and critical acclaim in the decades since its release, and is number 12 on Rolling Stone's 500 Greatest Songs of All Time. Thank you for participating and playing today, ladies and gentlemen. Just a reminder that the show would not be possible without our dear friends from OptionsHouse. We'll give you 150, that's right, 150 commission-free trades just for signing up for an account through this page. There's buttons at the top, bottom right. Go ahead, make clickies. Sign up with an account for OptionsHouse. Get 150 commission-free trades just because you listen to Benzinga's pre-market info.
I feel like there's a typo or something. 100. You didn't say 150.
I
you
did.
Mean
It's 150. So you take.
You meant
100,
15, right?
No. You take 100. You add 50 to it. Makes 150 commission-free trades just for listening to Benzinga's pre-market info, signing up for an OptionsHouse account. I mean, come on. You can't beat
crazy.
That. You can. What does Fari Hamzai say? That'll pay for the soup.
yeah, that's a good one, Joe. You did say that. That's a good
That'll
one.
pay
I'm gonna
for the
start using
soup.
that one.
Soup for everyone. 150 commission-free trades from OptionsHouse. So go ahead and sign up with an account, and maybe we'll answer your questions a little bit faster. I know Joel's kind of slow, but we'll speed him up if you get an account through OptionsHouse. With that, I'm going to hand it over to my man Brent, who's going to pipe in here with rating changes.
Hey, that's me.
Pre-market. Let's go for it, man.
Yeah, there's been a ton of rating changes today. I'm going to go over some of the top upgrades, downgrades, and I even have one notable new coverage for everyone out there. Get a little bonus today. Let me go over a couple of the top upgrades here. Firm ISI Group upgrading both shares of CVS and Walgreens. ISI definitely more bullish on CVS. They upgrade that one from buy to strong buy, while upgrading Walgreens shares from cautious to neutral. So apparently still on the sidelines on Walgreens, but a equivalent of a screaming buy on CVS out of ISI also upgrading shares of Cerner, Charlie Echo, Romeo November from neutral to strong buy this morning. That is a couple notch upgrade, so it is rather notable here. SunTrust upgrading shares of Dow Chemical from reduced to neutral. Remember, there was some news on Dow, and it was Dan Loeb's third point yesterday. Dan Loeb apparently taking a $1 billion plus stake in shares of Dow. Stock rose over 6.5% yesterday on that news. Let's see what Dow's doing in the pre-market right now. Actually, we're continuing a bit higher. We got about 7 cents, right at 46 bucks here in pre-market action. Going on with the top upgrades, Credit Suisse upgrading shares of Informatica from neutral to outperform this morning, and Oppenheimer making a bit of a pair trade call here in, looks like the software sector. They're upgrading shares of Red Hat from market perform to outperform, while at the same time downgrading shares of Oracle from outperform to market perform. So Oppenheimer analysts sticking their neck out a little bit here this morning. A couple of the top downgrades. Cowen downgrade shares of GlaxoSmithKline from outperform to market perform. Citigroup downgrading shares of Towers Watson Tango Whiskey from buy to neutral. Pacific Crest downgrading shares of Verizon from outperform to sector perform. And then getting back to ISI Group, downgrading shares of Hologic, that is Hotel Oscar Lima X-Ray, from strong buy to buy. This morning, Sternagey downgrading shares of Dollar Tree from buy to neutral. And the last downgrade, notable top downgrade this morning, Goldman Sachs downgrading shares of Mosaic, slapping on the sell rating. Shares of Mosaic are trading down about 2.7%. That is about $1.30 following that Goldman call. And the sole singular new coverage that is notable this morning, shares of SLM Corp, that is Sally Mae, getting a new buy rating and $28 price target from Goldman. Shares of SLM getting, actually I don't see any action in SLM this morning. So the street kind of shrugging at that buy rating, but nonetheless it is coming from Goldman Sachs. So that would be one to watch.
What happened to that stock?
What?
I mean, it was up at climbed back above 27, 24, 34. Had a bad day on Friday. Did they pay a big dividend or something on
Friday. I
I
don't
can't
remember
believe that
that.
didn't pop up on my radar. That was down 2.5 points on Friday, and then continued lower here. Goldman making a bold call here.
You know what it was? They had earnings on Thursday evening.
They had
Looks
earnings.
like they were worse than expected. 61 versus 73. They also named a new vice chair. I think that was what would have done
That's
it.
what done it,
That
huh?
would do it. Yeah, right.
Wow, and then Goldman just boy, look at Dennis. He had 26 puts on it on the weeklies and worked well on it. He had those out of the money.
Congrats.
Good call, Dennis. You didn't tell us about it. He only tells us
He's a
about,
modest guy.
He only tells us about the losers. You know, he doesn't only the losers. $24. Super
Even the
made.
losers get lucky sometimes.
That's right. That's right.
Is that a Sam Cooke song?
That's
It should have been, but it was actually a what song, Joel? Jake's he's gonna flip if you don't get this right.
Trivia tidbit round 2.
Is it
Baby, even the losers
I know it.
get lucky sometimes.
I was thinking it's not Huey Lewis.
Nope.
It's some old band like that. Give me.
How about the Doobie Brothers?
Nope. It's not.
Steely Dan.
Oh, I knew
dang
it. Was,
No, it wasn't.
Oh.
Did you say TP? No, it was Tom Petty, Joel.
Oh, I was close. Huey
listens to
Lewis
Tom
and Tom
Petty?
Petty.
Did you hear that, everyone? I sound so convincing that I can make Joel believe something that's not true.
Huey Lewis, huh?
This is the power you have, Joe. Don't abuse it.
I'll try not to. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Tom Petty, even the losers. Check it out.
$24 major support in Sally Mae.
Anyways.
If we get back down there. Okay, back down to your ratings.
That was kind of the last one I had. Definitely a good time now to highlight some of the earnings we got. We're getting a wash of earnings here on the news desk. Jake and I are busy all day kind of going over these earnings. We're gonna have eBay today. Is it today? Is it tomorrow? Let me check that real quick. I don't want to make any claims that aren't true. We're gonna have eBay. We're gonna have Netflix, Western Digital, also Stryker if you are in the healthcare sector. SanDisk shares and F5 shares will be responding to earnings this week. So a couple of good earnings reports. And actually, let's see, I'm getting a bit of guidance out of the Abbott Labs call that's going on right now. Alpha Bravo Tango Company, an exec on the call saying looking for Q1 EPS in the range of 34 to 36. And the street is up at around 48 cents. So not some good guidance coming out of Abbott Labs. They say expecting Q2 EPS in the range of 49 to 51. And again, that's kind of at the low end. Street is at 51 cents right now. So maybe this is a good spot to sort of transition over, Joe.
Okay.
So take a look at Abbott.
Yeah, Abbott
Doesn't look like it's really moving lower on that guidance that was just out, but I mean it's already been getting beat up here this morning. So
yeah, we had a long discussion on Abbott Labs today, and it continues lower here. Pre-market trading, not a ton of volume here. The $38 level, we could take a look at that. It had the springboard up off the. We were going back the Jeffries best idea stock you have to have in your portfolio, convictionless buy, and it got the big rally off that. Hasn't been able to hold. Now it's coming back to that $38 area. That is going to be the battleground today. Let's you know what we haven't talked about in a long time, Brent.
Tesla, Twitter,
Both.
Facebook.
Which one you want to do? Which one you want to do first?
Between Tesla and Twitter, let's do. I haven't looked at Twitter in a while, so let's do Twitter.
Okay, let's take a look at Twitter. Have you been tweeting a lot or not? Are you a tweeter?
Yeah, I'm a tweeter.
Yeah. Let's see. How many followers do you have?
I tweet from the Benzinga Twitter actually, so I have
Oh,
over 60,000 followers. If I,
yeah,
that's it.
Okay, 60,000. Okay, can I short that?
Hey, go check it out.
Twitter. I'm finding resistance in Twitter here. 64.69 was your high on Friday. Came down on Tuesday to 63.44. But you got to be licking your chops on the short side here. 61.50 and 61.59. Those are your two lows the last two sessions. Hold it on the long side. It breaks below there. We could be back down at that critical $55 level. And before we go to Twitter, Dennis is making a bold prediction here. He thinks Facebook breaks out today. And let's see here. Oh, look how many times we bumped. It is already breaking out, Dennis. What are you talking about? Is it 58.92? That's a new all-time high for Facebook shares. The former all-time high. No, close. 58.96 was the all-time high. We are at 58.92 in the pre-market here. Made a high at 58.95. Might be a little stock kicking around at a nice round number of 59, but it's made several attempts at this level. I'd rather see a little bit of a washout and have it, maybe go through 59, suck some people in, wash out down to 58.80, 58.70, and then use the close as a stop out point at 58.51. They knocked it down. Well, yesterday, did they come out with like a Chinese Twitter or something, and it like caught on and had this really rapid transition rate?
Weixin.
Weixin?
Weixin.
Weixin.
It's
We
the
better-
equivalent of
You
like
said it
WeChat.
right.
We better be. Is that like? I didn't know you spoke Mandarin.
Yeah, that was good, Joe.
Ni hao.
Does that mean thank you?
I always thought it meant like hello, like a greeting. I'm not very good on my Chinese, Japanese, Cantonese. You get where I'm going with
You
this.
think you would after all that Chinese food you eat over there from that place across the
Like
street?
you're one to talk. Come on.
Yeah.
What do you do? What do you eat every Christmas day, Joel?
The only place that's open is Chinese food.
And since you've now been through 50 Christmases, oh,
I don't think they made Chinese food and baby food, so I don't think you'd have to. I think I started a little bit later than that. But okay, so we talked about Dennis's prediction here on Facebook. We talked about Twitter, the 6150. We're gonna while we trans over to Shaky Jake here, we're gonna look at Tesla. I know they don't report earnings for a while.
Joel,
here.
I got one for you before I hit the old dusty trail. It's Himax, HIMX. Do this one after you look at your Tesla here.
Man, I took Tesla off my screen, and here it is, within 20 points of all-time highs here, breaking out again today. 177.29. Tuesday's high. We made a run up in the must have had some kind of news or something because we popped up pretty good here right after the close to 179.75. You're probably going to have to go to the weekly charts here. Look at that 180 level here sticking out like a sore thumb here. So if that's your target for a Tesla long there, 180. That was the exact high. What day was that? Or that was 180, 143. That was a November high you had. So another $4.50 to find good resistance in shares of Tesla. Jake, are you with me?
I am.
Okay, I'm gonna do Did you have the story on this HMX, or was this something that?
It's I think it's HIMX. Yeah, HIMX. Yeah, Brent was just asking for that. I'll look into it real
Himax?
quick. Yeah, HIMX.
Hi Max. Oh, it's an ADR, so you know what that means. Hands off, but does look like it's bumping up against resistance here. Could have a potential breakout. Let me pull up the chart here. Been struggling with the $14 level over the last few trading sessions. 1390, 1389. Those are the highs of the last 2 days. We broke above that. The only thing I see above that is your 1481 high. Did open up over 14, so maybe get a pull back under 14 to try a lower risk play. So, Jake, what do you have on your radar today?
Well, I know one thing I got on my radar is your basketball game tonight. Wolverines playing Iowa. It should be interesting to see if you guys can remain undefeated going into our head-to-head matchup on Saturday.
Yeah, you guys looked good last night against that rugged. Is Indiana 500 team or not?
Yeah, they're above 500. They're what, 13 and 5. They've only got one more loss than you guys.
Yeah. I got my handy dandy lucky Michigan shirt on. I think I'm over 80% when I wear this shirt at Michigan football. Well, probably basketball games. I don't know football.
maybe that got messed up a little bit this year.
Yep, got messed up. But what do you have for obscure stocks that are moving here today?
Well, I think I want to kind of start with some of the earnings plays this morning. General Dynamics is first. I want to look at the defense contractor here. Gulf Delta reported EPS of $1.76 versus $1.75 expected. Revenues were real strong though, $8.11 billion versus expected $7.99 billion. So General Dynamics, reporting you give us a strong report there, and we're seeing a lot of big companies not doing so hot, but they're trading down a little bit right now. I guess flat roughly is what I'm seeing, but any thoughts on General Dynamics? You think this is just traders being a little cautious on the report, or what?
Well, you've had a nice run up here. I believe that's all-time highs back at above the $96 level. We just made that high. Hasn't traded yet today. It made a high yesterday, 96.87. Looking at the pre-market trading, we did spike down right at the low at 93.55. So opens here unchanged. So I'd keep an eye on that close. Yesterday's close 95.30. We get back above 95.30. Actually, you're looking at this. You've had 4 closes between 95.30 and 95.59. So not great. Not rallying off the open here. I think you got resistance at that level. Coming back on the downside here, a bunch of lows. This thing's really been trading in a tight range lately. So if it breaks below 95, I think you might have some people hitting the exit button.
Yeah, I'm looking at the guidance they issued, and it was actually pretty weak guidance. I guess this was a while back. Yeah, I guess that's actually some old guidance. So never mind. I was reading that wrong. So it's just kind of interesting seeing them trade down like that. Maybe it's just I don't know. We also had Freeport McMoran reporting earnings this morning, which is Fox Charlie X-Ray for anyone following along on their own platforms. EPS came in at 84 cents versus expected 80 cents, while revenues missed, coming in at 5.89 billion versus expected 6.4 billion. So that's FCX again, missing on the top line there while beating on the bottom line. They're down about 1.6% the last time I checked, breaking down below that $35 level. I know we've talked about that before. Joel, what are you thinking on Freeport here?
Continuing lower here, have a couple minor support points in the 34 handle. 34.35 was a low, had another low, 34.10, and then the low of the recent move has been 33.81. Still a buck away from that level here, so we'll have to keep an eye on that one.
Well, remember yesterday before the show when we were talking about AMD reporting after the close yesterday? Well, they sure did. EPS came in line at 6 cents, while revenues slightly beat at 1.59 billion versus expected 1.54 billion. Now, they did drop a little bit of a comment saying they're expecting Q1 sales to be down between 13 and 19%. Oops, that's a quarter-over-quarter number there. And AMD is just getting crushed on that. They're below $4 right now, down about 9%. Alpha Mike Delta for anyone looking at their own charts. But we were talking about how Intel had kind of hinted that AMD might not do great. We kind of saw that on AMD. They managed to pull out a decent quarter, but their guidance seemed pretty weak. And it seems like some of the other big tech names might be even coming down on this as, traders kind of worry, all right, what does that mean for consumer tech?
Okay, opened up 379. We hit 382. Selling off here. Let's look at the pre-market low. Pre-market low, quite a bit low. Not quite a bit lower than this, but it did hit 367. When Intel had the bad news, it opened lower, grinded, at the lows for the day, and kind of had a rally here. Nice windfall for people who have been short this stock. I think they'll probably take this opportunity to bring it in all the way down to the 367. That was the pre-market low.
Yeah, so absolutely. That's just one I want to take a look at. We also had IBM reporting after the close yesterday. Probably, the biggest report that we did see. India Bravo Mike for anyone following along on their own charts there. Pull up this report real quick. Company reported a fourth quarter EPS of $6.13, was expected $5.99. Revenue came in at $27.7 billion, which did miss expectations of $28.25 billion. And the company did say that they see fiscal year 14 operating EPS of at least $18. It seems fairly in line with this year, maybe a little bit above. So nothing too crazy as far as the report coming from IBM. But shares are moving to the downside this morning. Looks like we're testing that $180 level again. We tested it once after the close yesterday, and we seemed to bounce off of it. But we're there once again. Joel, you think this is something that the shares really need to hold, or what are you thinking here?
Yeah, I do. I mean, we did take out the pre-market low that was right at the 180 level. Got a dip down to 179.67 here. Little panic selling off the open. Let's see if it can regain its footing here at the $180 level and recover some of that ground that it lost from the earnings. But boy, don't tell IBM that the market's at all-time highs.
No kidding. Another one we've got moving right now, is actually, I guess it's kind of mixed at this point, is Cree. That's Charlie Romeo Echo Echo. They're up about 0.6% the last time I looked, and the company did report gave us some guidance yesterday and reported its fourth quarter EPS of 46 cents, which is 39-cent estimates, and revenue came at 415 million, versus expected 412 million. They did put out some guidance. It was a little disappointing. 34 to 41 cents for the next quarter. The street was looking for 40 cents there, so a little bit below the range. Some of the range was above, but most of it ended up coming in below. While sales were guided between 390 and 420 million, the street was looking for 413.6 million. So strong report, but the guidance wasn't too hot. What are you thinking on Cree here, Joel?
Got to pop up off the open to 64.74. That coincides with two highs on the 15th and 16th of this month here. So hit that levels 3 times in a row. That's your major resistance. coming back down. We didn't quite get back to yesterday's low, which was 62.78. I think if we take that out here, we'll be going down, trade perhaps down to 62.02. But the better numbers on the upside, and it's right now it's potential triple top at 64.75.
Now here's another one that is one of my favorite tickers. It's Brinker International. The ticker there is EAT.
Yep.
Echo Alpha Tango reported EPS this morning of 59 cents versus the expected 58 cents. While revenues came in at 704.4 million, beating expectations of 699.49 million. Shares are really trading up on this one, over 6%. Looks like traders maybe even eyeing that $50 psychological level here. So Brinker International looking pretty good. They did say that their comparable same-store sales were up 0.8% for the quarter. So definitely something to take into account there. Joel, what do you think here? Maybe that $50 level is going to come into play today. You think that we're just going to bounce off that?
Yeah, it actually already has, Jake. People
Really?
got really excited off the open here. 50.54 high, hit 50.74, and then came back down here into down to 49.48 here. Looks like some potential profit taking after you hit that outrageous level off the open. Below 49.48, boy, you got a couple bucks of a gap to fill there, down to 47.15. So I think players will reapproach if it can get back in that 50 handle again. I think you'll see more sellers way ahead of that 50.79 high.
Violin Maker just gave us a heads up that Gilead's continuing to show some strength this morning. Over the last 5 days, it's gone from 74 almost to $84 here. What do we at? 83.40, I think is the last trade I'm seeing, up over 2.2% right now. Gilead just continuing this rally. Gulf, India, Lima, Delta for anyone on their own platforms there. Joel, any quick analysis on this one before we continue into some of the earnings names?
I know Violin Maker's been talking this one about us for a long time, and originally it was like, oh, that resistance you were having at the 75 handle, 75 and a half, 75.80, and then I can remember the day that it broke through there and had just never looked back. That the day it broke through that 75 and a half level. How long ago was that? That was going back on the 16th. It got that move up, closed at 75.23. The following day it hit 79.02, 77.90 close, and just continued strong up every day after that. You've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 higher highs and 5 higher lows and 5 higher closes. I don't know when the thing's going to stop. Joe, you should be happy about this one.
Joe's throwing on the headset. Here he comes.
If I was listening, I probably would be happy.
Okay. Okay.
If we're going to be talking about some bigger pharma names, Abbott.
Gilead, I got it. Gilead.
Yep.
By the way,
and welcome to the party,
thank
Mr.
you,
Late.
thank you, Johnny Come Lately. There was Mark Schoenbaum at ISI Group had a note out on Gilead this morning. I just got to read you the subject line. Likely to utterly annihilate 2014 consensus. There, I finally said it. ... Stock to 100 ? That's Mark Schoenbaum at ISI Group.
Utterly annihilate. That's
Utterly annihilate.
It sounds more like a general talking about about to go into battle or something. That's pretty awesome. If I got headlines like that all the time in the reports, I'd be pretty excited.
He says the data is too strong to ignore. So
All right.
eat that with your lunch, Joel.
Okay. Hey, I was talking to you about the breakout above 75 and a half. I don't, you can't. This is one of the stocks I haven't recommended shorting.
Another one that is, if we're going to stay in that kind of like pharma/biotech space, is Abbott Labs. They reported this morning EPS came in line at 58 cents. So we had a match there while they guided their first quarter of 2014 to be between 34 and 36 cents a share, which is quite below street estimates of 48 cents a share. They also gave us some fiscal year 2014 guidance, which was 216 to 226. The street was looking for 222. So it looks like the street's paying a little bit more attention to that fiscal year guidance because they're not beating it down too much. It's down about 3% here, despite that pretty weak first quarter guidance. I guess they're expecting to make it up on a couple of their other reports. It's Alpha Bravo Tango for anyone looking at their own charts. Joel, any thoughts on this one?
Had quick dip off the open down to 36.94. I caught some people off guard that had bought that lower open. Now you're coming back up, pressing against the 38.20s, the intraday high here. So not a lot. If you get through that 38.20 here, you need to go up to 38.86 to fill the gap here. But the fact that it traded back under 37 here, I think you're going to start to run into some problems here pretty quickly in Abbott Labs. Quite a move, though, for that thing, huh?
Yeah, no kidding. So definitely something we want to keep an eye on. Real quick before we head into any other stocks, I want to do a quick rundown of what we're going to see after the close today. We do have a lot of big reports coming. We've got eBay, we've got Netflix, we've got Western Digital, SanDisk, Stryker, F5 Networks. What else are we looking at? Logitech. Let me see what else. We got more than that. Teradyne, Fusion IO. I know that's one some people like to play, but Polycom. A lot of big names coming after the close today, so I just want to kind of keep an eye on that. Just be ready for a serious wave of earnings. Yesterday, I think after the close, was a little bit more quiet. Joel, we do have a question in the chat about Alcoa Alpha for anyone
Wow.
that wants to follow along on their own chats. Any ideas for Alcoa over the short term coming from Violin Maker here? We've seen a lot of action in Alcoa recently. What are your thoughts here? I mean, it's a nice looking chart last couple of days here.
Short term. I wish I would have bought it a couple days ago. Uh, I mean, you are having a little bit of a resistance here. I would say 1231 was yesterday's high. 1232 has been the high so far in today's session. So just a parabolic move here, up over 2.25 points since they issued. I mean, they had bad earnings. That's what gapped it down and turned it around. And now there's a lot of other things going on. I would like to see it take out this 1231, 1232, and continue higher today. I mean, there has to be some kind of pullback in this thing sometime. Gap to fill all the way between 1153 and 1177 here. But it looks like you're running into a little bit of resistance here. Looking at the monthlies here, you have to go far out to find resistance. And if you're going to go on a monthly chart here, there's nothing up here till 1288. But, see if you can get to this 1231, 1232 level, and, look for it. If not, it's going to eventually have to come down and fill that gap.
Well, surprisingly enough, we're already at 9:45 here, so we got to cut the show off. Joel, you want to give us any thoughts, final thoughts on the S&P and the markets here before we sign off?
Just a song remains the same with this 1840 handle. Sneaked above it in the pre-market 1843 and a quarter. During the regular session 1841.50. So if you are trading the ranges here, we are at the top of this yearly range here in the 1840 handle. With all the negative earnings and stocks trading lower today, doesn't look like today is going to be the day for the breakout. That's our show for the day, folks. Thanks for your input on the issues. Just real quickly, PCLN. I don't want to leave Violin Maker out, going out here without taking a look at PCLN. Have not looked at that stock in a long time. Hard to trade these $1,000 stocks, but not sure when they announce earnings. But let's take a look at PCLN. What's this new all-time highs here? Let's see. It took out the $1,200 level today. And, yeah, Dennis, I see you. The NSC. I got you. We should have went on the pre-market bet here. I hope you bought it. 1213 and a quarter. That's the all-time high. Busted out above. Had a double top. Actually, wow, has this thing moved up over... Oh, this is over the last couple days here. Yep, new all-time high, 1213 and a quarter. If you're just trying to protect profits in this, yesterday's high was 1206.98. Today's low 1206.50. So that's a good level for now. If not, just let it run on the upside. Perhaps take a look at the average daily range for targets. So that's it, folks. We're a little long today, but we'll be back with you tomorrow. Have a good trading day.